My name is Márcia Balisciano, and I am Director of Corporate Responsibility for RELX Group. I have a heritage which is Italian, and I knew I loved India for a reason, because my colleagues are most often complaining about how I'm not a very good timekeeper, but as many of our guests will be arriving through the day, one of my Indian colleagues said that actually if you have an event in India that's supposed to start at 9:30, it will actually take place at noon, so it's perfect. I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about RELX Group. Our vision, RELX is the world's knowledge company. We produce information, data, and analytics to help professional customers across a wide range of industries advance their work. And we start with our unique contributions as a business. We do a lot of thinking about what is different about RELX from other companies. So we articulate that as universal access to information. It is about promoting science and health and well-being. It is about protecting society. It is about fostering the rule of law and access to justice. And it is also about fostering communities, and that roughly maps to the kind of business areas that we serve. So Elsevier, which is the world's largest scientific information provider, LexisNexis Risk Solutions, which fights fraud by using publicly available data and analytics. It maps to LexisNexis Legal and Professional, which catalogs the world's laws and helps lawyers and judges make better decisions. It also links to the business-to-business part of our risk and business analytics area, and also Reed Exhibitions, which is the world's largest exhibitions company. So some overview of RELX. We are over 30,000 employees. We have offices in more than 40 countries. We also have 180 countries where our customers are located. So it's a sizable organization, but because we're not consumer-facing, you may not know our corporate name. But that is one of the reasons that we are focused on the Sustainable Development Goals, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. A little bit of the transition that we have made over the last, say, 20 years, from a traditional print-based publisher to when our most recent set of financial results were introduced in February, we had 74% of our turnover from online. So we are a technology business, as so many companies are today. And what this slide is meant to show you in overview is how we have moved from reference materials, so you need to know something, you could look it up and get access to that, to built-in tools that are looking at helping customers make decisions, but increasingly, as you can see on the right-hand side of that slide, looking at using artificial intelligence, machine learning to help our customers be able to move more quickly to solve and get the answers that they need for their business. So I wanted to show you here some research that we have done. And here we have looked at SDG 11. So some of my slides aren't in the right order, but we're going to adjust anyway. We are able to use Science Direct and Scopus, which is the world's largest science citations database, of our material plus all of our colleagues who are working in this space. And we can see for SDG 11, which is about sustainable cities and communities, the rise of publications. It's actually a 79% increase between 2013 and 2018. So clearly, SDG 11 really matters. And here, we're going to go backward a little bit, just to show you, this is a visual representation. You don't need to really see the numbers that are on there, but this is just showing you that digital transformation that we have made, as I was describing, from about 20, just over 20% at the beginning of the period in around 2000 to 74%, as I was saying, in 2018, which is coming from online. And the orange bar that you can see is also looking at face-to-face, which is the exhibitions part of our business. So, the Sustainable Development Goals. In 2015, all of the nations of the world came together to agree that we needed an agenda for the world to address some of the most pressing problems. So we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals which provide a framework for action. It's meant to be a fair, safer, better world for people and the planet by 2030. We are honored today that we have as partners for this SDG Inspiration Day Delhi the United Nations Global Compact India, and I'd like to specifically thank Kamal Singh for his support. We also are grateful to the Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens, and Won-Soo Kim is with us today, who is a board member of the Ban Ki-moon Center, and of course the father, if you will, of the SDGs is Ban Ki-moon, and the idea is a fair, safer, better world for people and the planet by 2030. So why a RELX SDG Inspiration Day here in Delhi? I'd like to show you a video.
They are a to-do list for people and planet.
So obviously you have joined us today, and we are so grateful. The idea is that we need to do our part. I think we all recognize that commercial enterprises have a role to play, and business as usual is not going to achieve the SDGs. So what we are trying to do today is to bring you together with corporate peers, NGOs, government representatives, youth representatives, and others, representatives of civil society, to explore and discuss what you are respectively doing on the SDGs and how there might be synergies to scale your endeavor. And one of those ways that we have thought about in terms of giving back and making sure that RELX does its part on the SDGs is to create a free tool. It's called the SDG Resource Center. We launched it at an SDG Inspiration Day, the first one that we did in London in 2017, and it is free content from across all parts of our business, as well as partner content at the moment from within the UN system. So the UN Global Compact, UN Development Program, UN Environment Program that can inform debate and also knowledge about the SDGs. And you will see as well if you visit the homepage, and I think that we've got some postcards for you that actually have the address. It's sdgresources.relics.com. You will find the news tracker where you can get on the homepage of the SDG Resource Center up-to-the-minute news on the SDGs. So you can search by geography or by SDG, and before the close of this year, you'll also be able to search by keyword for the latest news, crawling across over 10,000 news sources every minute to get you news on the SDGs. So this is our business. It's important that we think about access to our content, and this is one of the ways that we are trying to have our own house in order, but also to share with our own expertise and energy around the Sustainable Development Goals. So I wanted to just flag some content that you can find on the SDG Resource Center. So SDG 11, why this one? When we started out with the first Inspiration Day in 2017, as I've mentioned in London, the theme was kind of general. What is it going to take to scale action? Last year, in October, we went to Silicon Valley. The theme was disruptive technology to advance the SDGs. What is the role for technology? And of course, that's a theme today. We were in Amsterdam in early November last year to hold an SDG Inspiration Day around partnerships. We'll be back in Amsterdam a little bit later on this year. But we thought SDG 11 in a place like India, in a magnificent city like Delhi, was a great focus because we can use SDG 11 as a way, a lens, if you will, of looking at some of the other areas that you might not necessarily think about in association with SDG 11, like the rule of law and access to justice, which roughly is SDG 16, or SDG 3, health and well-being. Also looking at that role for technology, as I've said, in terms of how that feeds into sustainable cities. And of course, it's sustainable cities and communities. So it's a combination of both of those things. But here on the SDG Resource Center, you can see some of these publications. Actually in 2018, you'll see a publication called National Urban Policymaking and its Potential for Sustainable Urbanization at Elsevier. Now, you would need to have normally a subscription to that journal, Current Opinion for Environmental Sustainability, but all of the content on the SDG Resource Center is free. Or you can see another piece from 2017, Valuing Co-Benefits to Make Low-Carbon Investments in Cities Bankable. So there's a lot of material that's out there. In fact, there are 700 different content sources on the SDG Resource Center, and we are aiming both with our own content and partner content to reach 1,000 content sources before the close of this year. So we've created this beautiful banquet, and we want you to partake from it. What this color wheel shows you is the top 10 countries for SDG 11 publications, 2013 to 2018. You can see that China is the largest, has the largest output of those 9,036 publications that comprised SDG 11 when we looked at the Scopus database and we applied Elsevier's analytical tool, SciVal. But what's very interesting about India is that at the beginning of our period in 2013, it wasn't in the top 10, and it's moved to 8th position in terms of the output. So if we want to make progress on the SDGs, we need to do the research, and we need to share that research. And I thought here it's making that point, and you can see indeed, there's been a flip at the top between the US and China. So 2018, China took the lead position, and there you can see as well India with 6% of the output of all of the publications that we found related to SDG 11 over the period. And I just wanted to show you as well, the growth here shows you in terms of the number of publications over that period for India on SDG 11. And I think what's interesting, I didn't realize until I did a little bit of research about Delhi, that actually since the 6th BC, there has been a civilization here. There has been a city. So this is a place where cities have been born and changed shape and adjusted. And I think I also found it quite interesting. I thought that Delhi might be in the top 10 in terms of the world's most populous cities. It's actually the 14th most populous. Yet, in terms of the top 10 cities that are the most polluted by particulate matter, the majority of them are to be found in India. Yet, there is very important progress. The SDG Index and Dashboard Report, which is put out by the Bertelsmann Foundation with assistance from key scholars like Jeffrey Sachs, who's an advisor to the Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizens, we see that actually India is one of the countries that is doing the most to think about financing on the SDGs, and a very important component, which we're going to hear about this morning. And I'd like to thank all of our panelists who will be speaking and presenters throughout the day for coming to join us. And also, I think it's very interesting to look at the trend in terms of what we can see for where India in particular is making progress in terms of the full spectrum of the SDGs. And one of those trends, according to the SDG Index and Dashboard Report, is around climate change. So I think that's very important. Finally, here in terms of the research, I just wanted to show you in terms of the top 10 institutions that are producing content on SDG 11. They include, say, in the top 3, the Institute of Technology in Bombay, Delhi, and Kanpur. So there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of focus on SDG 11. I guess I would like to close before inviting Kamal Singh of the UN Global Compact India to speak to us, to just show you an article that I saw in the Hindustan Times yesterday. And it's looking at West Delhi. And it says, a crying need to fix the basics first and dream later. Today, I think our discussion is around doing both. Thank you.